This slide describes the provisioning aspects of JSDN as a platform. So the platform is designed such a way that it is easily integrated with a third-party application by having in standard hooks in order to do certain operations like provisioning and metering, etc. So it is very extensible. So an adapter can be developed for a third-party application and integrate back into the system. So the adapter development can happen outside the system, which is of standard Java-based adapters or any standard protocols like REST API SOAP can be invoked in the adapters. It can be developed outside and it can be plugged into a JSDN platform as a well-defined adapter which functions as a single unit in order to interact with third-party systems. The provisioning framework that initiates an event, the event which we spoke in technical diagram, which is different from this event. These events are well-defined events in order to interact with an external systems. It could be a SaaS plus or an IaaS system. So in case of SaaS systems, creating an organization, creating a tenant, in other words, creating a tenant, creating a user under tenant, or subscribing certain subscription to that organization level or a user level could be achieved by writing an adapter which can be plugged into a provisioning framework. So these events are initiated by provisioning framework, which is essentially invoked by an adapter. The flow goes to an adapter after configuration. The adapter actually invokes an event in order to do certain operations from the third-party perspective. So event-based mechanism that provides a flexible way for integration, and the events, the standard out-of-box events are available, and new events can be written using by just changing the workflow tables and internal. So the workflow-based integration architecture provides the easier way of customization. So if one event involves multiple operations with a very defined sequence, the workflows can be used over there in order to interact such operations. And Jamcracker platform also provides a Jamcracker integration toolkit, which is called JIT. We call that as a JIT, and it's an XML-based adapter framework to integrate with third-party applications. And it is very extensible data model. It is built with a very extensible data model which can capture additional information required for integration without changing the core data model. So we have an extended attributes which every service is very different in nature in terms of additional information. Basic information like organization name or URL. In terms of users, it could be a first name, last name, and all would come as an out-of-box solution. Additionally, if someone wants to capture any additional information, it's very easy, and because we have an extensible data model which allows us to extend the data model, which you can include your own parameters like your employee ID. If you generate your own employee ID for an employee, that could be catered or that could be accommodated by having this kind of framework. A service configuration model is used for defining, configuring, and onboarding third-party services. So a well-defined service configuration module is inbuilt as part of this core provisioning platform, which is used for defining and configuring and onboarding third-party services. This slide talks about the provisioning event framework. So a Jamcracker platform, in last slide we spoke about the event can be raised, an event can be triggered in order to interact third-party application. These are the provisioning out-of-the-box provisioning events can be triggered. The event accommodates that. So the create company event or when a new companies is provisioned to a service, right? If it is a B2B service, the service is always given to a company. So in order to do that, the company provisioning comes into picture. So the create company event, which you can write a third-party, you can write an adapter in order to interact with third-party applications, which will trigger and create company event. Which will emit an XML or any standard JSON formats or any other web services based implementation, or it could be any other implementation wherein we can collect an information from the core platform through an web UI or an API framework and pass it back to an provisioning create company event so that the information is collected and we create an API payload and we invoke an API in order to get the company provisioning. So a similar way users also can be handled. We can update in company information, or we can update in user information, or we can unsubscribe by invoking and delete company or delete user events. These are the standard events for SaaS services available. For IaaS services, different types of events available for resource level. That please refer the IaaS architecture video to understand that. This is predominantly applicable for SaaS services.